Oh, Joburgers, here's the story you need to look out for this morning. You need to brace yourselves. From next month, you'll be paying more for rates and taxes, and quite a lot more. From property rates, electricity, water and sanitation. Basically, you're going to pay for everything. You're going to pay a lot more for everything that you currently have. It's city officials saying the hikes are to meet the demands of residents. Finance MMC Jolidee Matongo joining us to explain. MMC Matongo, good morning to you. As we talk about demands of residents, I'm pretty sure they're not demanding to part with more money they don't have for services they claim they aren't getting. This is quite a hefty hike. Why are you taking so much money from us?
Well, good morning, Gareth, and good morning to the viewers at home. I think what is important, Gareth, in the new budget is that when we look at property rates, currently we imposed a 4% hike on the property rates for the current financial year, which is ending on the 30th of June. But in the new financial year, having had cries from our residents, we decided to drop the proposed increase to 2% only. We then decided also to say, in terms of electricity, NERSA has granted ESCOM a 15.09% increase, but as a city, we are only levying a 14.59% increase. On water and sanitation, respectively, we are increasing from the current financial year from 6.6% to a 6.8% increase. On refuse, we are moving down from a 5.2% increase in the current financial year to a 4.3% increase in the new financial year. So I think it's quite important, Gareth, that we make public the fact that we are trying as a city to mitigate the financial burden on our residents, the impact of COVID. That's what we're trying to deal with in the new financial year.
MMC, I don't think many people in an ordinary year would argue about rates and taxes. I think fairly anybody would expect to pay a reasonable amount of money for basic services. But we've just been looking at visuals, MMC. I know you can't see it, but I would have seen it, and those joining me this morning would have seen it. I think the biggest issue here, and I'd like you to speak to the residents of Joburg about this directly. The issue I don't necessarily think is just the price increase. It hurts, it does hurt. But if Joburg were getting the services and we're getting the service and proper billing and communication from the city of Johannesburg, people might not be so angry. We're just looking at visuals there of people paying 8,000 Rand a month for water for a one-bedroom apartment. Those kind of things. I'm sure you're very familiar with those kind of problems. Speak to Joburg this morning, MMC. You've got the platform. That is the problem. How do we fix that issue before you take more of our money?
I think in terms of the issue of billing, if residents have got billing queries, they are free to contact our regional customer care centers.
It doesn't work.
The issues
it doesn't work, MMC.
No, it does work.
Not very well.
If you give me a case and we work on the case, then we can demonstrate to you that it does work. For an example, on a monthly basis, we issue about 1 million bills to properties across the city. Of the 1 million bills that we issue, only about 5,000 of the bills that we issue are queried on a monthly basis. So we have put systems in place to make sure that residents are assisted in terms of the queries that they have. We've got open days for billing where people can go in and raise their issues with the city in terms of the bills that they are querying. And if we find that as a city we have billed you incorrectly, we immediately rectify the situation. So we should not try and put it as a big problem that is out there in the city. We accept that from time to time there will be those billing queries where the city might not have done its work properly, which we are trying to get rid of. But as I said, we issue 1 million bills a month. Of those 1 million bills, about 5,000 of those have queries, and those queries are attended to on a monthly basis.
And MMC, and I'm sure in most cases, you probably are correct that these billing issues are non-existent. I want to ask quickly, because you raised about the city of Johannesburg dealing with billing problems quickly. That does seem to be true to an extent, but I've also received many reports that Joburg residents can only have their issue resolved if it's a problematic bill, if they pay the outstanding amount or if they pay a portion of the outstanding amount. Here's the problem. The outstanding amount is not the necessarily correct number, and some residents having to fork out 10, 20, 30,000 rand, sometimes more, just to be able to sort out the problem. What do you do there?
That should not be the case, because if you are querying a bill, already we have to flag your account and say, before we even start talking about you paying a cent towards the bill has got an issue. We flag the bill and then say, let's deal with the bill. I think what we are referring to is the issue where people have been disconnected in terms of water or electricity, where they now come to the office and they are trying to get reconnected, where a deposit is then required. I think that's the issue. Now, if you have a query in terms of the bill, we should not be asking you to pay a cent until we resolve the query that we have put before us. But if you have not been paying the city for more than 90 days and you have been disconnected, when you approach our offices, then that's where the issue of payment becomes to the fore, because you are then expected to pay, at least for now, a 10% deposit and make a payment arrangement so that we then reconnect your services, whether it's water or electricity. But if you have a billing query, you have to be assisted. You don't have to be paying upfront in order to be assisted. That should not be the case.